Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus, and yes, I am back again. I'm a social scientist, spokesman and advocate of basic human rights for all people. As far as I can see it, the voice of the Holy Ghost of God. I want to share something with you, ladies and gentlemen, as an elder. Yeah, I'm white-haired now. I've been around a long time. Probably longer than most of you. There's some old ones out here. But you better listen to me. I got some stuff I want to share with you. Right now, we have some crazy stuff going on in the American government. But let me share this with you. We've got a constitution presumably designed to guide the Americans through their system of operation, through their economic situation and their social situations. But as you look at these laws and rules and regulations, and you allow people to look at them and study them, they come up with different perspectives. What you thought at one time was the appropriate way, later on you can find someone else advocating for the opposite. And they both got good arguments. Which one is proper? To each his own, and not the others. Even in law school, they're teaching laws, and they're teaching jurisprudence. But what is to one isn't necessarily to the other, and so which is? Is there a blueprint, something that you can put your hands on and say, but this is the way? Well, it might be the way today, but with the right arguments and resistance, is it the way for tomorrow? Confusion. I think about what's proper for success in life. And if I wanted to give you some good guidance, ladies and gentlemen, I'd have to tell you to look at it like this. Everything is wrong, and everything is right. It's right for those who see it as being right, and it's wrong for those who see it as being wrong. And the only thing that would be right is that which works for both. Or should I say for everybody? If it doesn't work for everybody, then it's wrong. Bottom line. And that includes what's going on in Washington today. We got the Democratic Party. The Democratic people have seen life out of a Democratic eye. And anything that kind of sways away from that, they just cannot digest it. It's wrong. And the only thing that's right to them is the view from the Democratic eye. On the other hand, you got the Republicans. The Republicans see things from the Republican eye. And what they see is absolutely right. And if it not coming out of the Republican eye, it's definitely wrong. So you got Republicans and Democrats looking out of one eye and looking out of the other eye. None of these eyes come centered. So what you got is something that is confused. If you try to implement one side, you hurt the other. If you try to implement the other side, then you hurt the remaining other. So the only way to look at that, which works for everybody in that pretext, is that it is wrong. So if you look at it as being wrong, then everybody suffers. Everybody suffers. Now let's look at religion. Religion, you have people that sees it one way out of one eye, and you have people who see it a different way out of another eye. Now, if it's being reflected out of the eye that you see it out of, then it's right. But if it's being reflected out of another eye that you're not familiar with, it's wrong. And the only way that this can be jived in a way that works for both is that it's considered wrong and you follow none of it. So when you come down to your social and economic dispositions, wrong wins. It suffers. You, the people, suffer. There is no system of government. When you come down to religion, it's the same thing. For example, my wife was raised up in the church. She was brought up under type of indoctrination, and that's the way she sees it. And anything outside of that is crooked. I was brought up in the church, but I didn't accept that stuff when I was a kid. I heard one thing and I saw another. And so it got to be a problem with that. So I was not indoctrinated. I went to church, but I was not indoctrinated. I did not accept that. But there was something that happened in my life. I saw my form of the burning bush. I saw something that showed me that God really existed. I didn't see God, I couldn't touch God, I couldn't feel God, but the evidence of God was right there before me and I could not deny it. And so from that point on, does God exist? Of course. But God is a spirit, and that spirit is able to do much more than any physical individual can do. So I understand God differently than my wife. Now you can have some arguments coming from all of these people who want to have their way of being right. You're going to get a lot of arguments. You're going to get a lot of resistance. I don't care where it comes from. If it's not coming your way. But the key is this. If everything is looking wrong as being viewed from an eye that you don't see it at, and the only thing that can bring equilibrium is treat everything as wrong and everybody suffer, there should be a way that it can be seen or viewed that everybody benefits. And so that way you can have the rewards of life without the denial. So what is that? Based upon my experience, and the reason that I talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, is because I'm not putting it in the hands of man. I'm not putting it in the hands of women. I'm not putting it in the hands of white-haired men, young kids. I'm putting it in the hands of a spirit. The spirit that was able to create you and all of those systems that you have in operation that allows you to be you. I'm putting it in the hands of a spirit that was able to create and to make a manifestation of this earth and all that this earth is about. We don't know what is flat around, hanging out in the middle of nowhere, or whether it's just here. We have enough of the information to be here on it. And so that power, that spirit that was able to do that was able to do all things, it should be able to present peace in the lives of all humans, freedom in the lives of all humans, prosperity in the lives of all humans, joy of life in the lives of all humans, the meaning and manifestation of dreams in the lives of all humans. That's what the spirit that made you, made the earth, should be able to do. It's able to keep the earth right where it is, keep your body right where it is. It should be able to do that which brings life to you. I'm here to stand before you, ladies and gentlemen, to tell you that the spirit can do that. Politics can't. I know you're gearing up for a 2020 election, and none of that, whatever comes out of it, is going to give you anything different than what you got now. It will either be seen out of one eye or another eye, and it's going to have some okay and the rest of them not okay. But then let me go back to something when I said about the spirit. even there something goes wrong. I say, I witnessed the Spirit, and it reflected and molded itself in a way that I articulated. And yet I have seen and talked with others who testify that they have experienced the Spirit also, that eliminated all doubt about God. But they didn't come up with the same conclusion that I come up with. They came up with the conclusion that falls in line with either the Democrats or the Republicans. So that tells me I'm not arguing whether they came up with a spirit or not. All I can say is they resisted the truth. They resisted the truth. How can you know the truth and tell a person that who's looking to walk after truth to go to the polls and vote for evil? How can you speak for truth and say that this individual is better for a situation than another individual, and all you're doing is looking out of one of those eyes? I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it to you. What do you see from what is being said? And I am speaking about a change in the system. I'm not talking about democratic system, an oligarch. I'm not talking about a dictatorship. I'm not talking about any of that, because that all, my friends, every last one of them depicts failure. I'm speaking about the Spirit. The Spirit, my friends, that's able to meet every last one of our needs, our wants, and our desires. Now, as before, I don't want to spend much time trying to tell you what this Spirit's plan is, that Spirit's plan of operation. I would refer you to God or Money, Human's Choice. Eddie Marcus, YouTube, might be on Facebook. God or Money, Human's Choice. But I will take a minute and give you some simple version of what the Spirit says. The Spirit says all of the resources that are essential for whatever your needs and desires and wants are, whatever you consider goods and services that you require, the resources have already been established here on the earth, either inside of the earth or on the earth or above the earth, seen or unseen. And the rest of the stuff necessary and required is in human beings. Human beings have the opportunity to exercise their gifts through a job or a career of their own choosing. That means they're going to like what they're doing. It might be digging a ditch, cleaning a toilet, building a house, growing food, playing football, playing any form of sports, singing and dancing, whatever it is. They love doing it, and it feeds into the plan of the divine God for the benefit of all of you who enjoy such things. Well, your position might be having to do with the infrastructure, building planes, going to the moon, going to Mars, anything that you choose to do. That Spirit has provided that you can do it. And if man and the other eye get out of the way so you can do it, they all connect together, cross-section together. And you as a human being, as a human race, become part owners in all that exists by the hands of man. And what you have done, created, belongs to you. You do not need somebody telling you that you can use money, because we now know what that's all about. That's divide you and to conquer you and separate you. So now your dreams can be made real. You got a career of your choosing. You got all the health care you need. You got all the education you need. You got all the food, clothing, and homes that you need. You got an infrastructure that is absolutely magnificent. You got transportation. You got recreation. You got vacations. You got it all. And that comes from the Spirit. And so I would say to all of you who are listening to my voice today, if you are not trying to make the Spirit real in your life and in the lives of everybody else, you out of your mind. You got to be out of your mind. So, I'm going to leave it there. I don't think I need to say anymore. I want to thank you again so very much for giving me this your time. And I'm so glad that that moment out there in that lake, when the Spirit hit that moccasin and ran my butt out, I'm so glad that when I was out there in that cotton field and the Spirit did His thing to me to save me, I'm so glad that when I was in that car riding around with my son and losing control, and the Spirit took the steering wheel and guided me through that, I'm so glad, because it enables me to stand before you and say, hey, the Spirit can do what you can't do. Because no human being on the face of the earth could have done anything in those situations that I found myself in. Only a God. I'm not saying God could have been angels, could have been just spirit, whatever it was an expression of love and power. And that's why I come to you. That's why I stand before you and say, just because you got a bunch of money, that don't make you important. If you got a bunch of money when people are suffering, that tells me how much you are not important. You're just a selfish bigot, led by man, absent the Spirit. So, let me leave it there. I don't think I need to say anymore. Goodbye.